Did you think implementing AI was going to be easy? I did, and when I first started using it, I thought I was an AI genius. But after using it every single day for 846 days in a row, I realized how much time I wasted that I could have saved if I knew what I knew now. Here are 20 brutal truths that took me way too long to learn that no matter if you're a beginner or an expert, will transform your day-to-day. Lesson 1. What do you think is a more likely scenario? Scenario 1. A robot coming into your life and just replacing your entire job. Or scenario 2, a young kid comes in, knows how to use AI, automates everything, and makes your job obsolete. The answer should be obvious to you, and it's scenario number 2. When I first grew my agency to over 20 people, I was focusing on hiring people that are interested in new technology and want to implement it as soon as possible. If they weren't those type of people, they were the first person to go. And now as a COO of an 8-figure tech startup, it's a similar concept. And that's why lesson number 1 is AI won't steal your job, but somebody who knows how to use it will. So there's urgency for you to learn the skills that I'm about to discuss. Lesson 2, I learned by doing things. And the best way to force yourself to do things is to create situations that require you to do things. And so now look at your environment. What is something that you could do that forces you to use AI? Perhaps you want to build an AI app. Maybe you want to automate your morning routine. Maybe there's a workflow at work that could use an improvement. And try and create an environment that forces you to use AI tools. For example, I love this stuff and I wanted to continue learning about it. So that's why I decided to create content about it. It forces me to think about these things. I call these forcing functions. So look at your environment and ask yourself, what's something I could do that forces me to learn? And that's why lesson 2 is create forcing functions to get you to dive deeper. Now, lesson number 3, this is maybe one of the best forcing functions, so I want to put it right here. It's very simple and anyone can do this. In your circle, become the AI person. Share things on Instagram on your story. Send your friends and family articles about AI. This will position you amongst your peers as the go-to AI person, and they're going to come to you with questions and you're going to have to answer them. And nothing holds you accountable quite like your social circle. In fact, I have a challenge for you that takes 5 seconds. Share this video with somebody in your circle. This will literally make you the AI person in their eyes. Full stop. They're going to come to you with AI questions. The more you do this, the more you create a forcing function around you. And that's why lesson number 3 is position yourself as the AI person in your circle. This will be a forcing function that could be the best catalyst for you to learn. Lesson number 4, and nobody really thinks like this, but this is super important. Have you ever been busy all day just to look back and think, I really got nothing done? Well, that's likely because other people were messaging, bothering you, interrupting you throughout the entire day. And now imagine a world where they just did it. Because your effectiveness and your ability to produce doesn't just have to do with you. It has to do with the people around you. If they can be more efficient and they can learn how to use these tools, you will become more efficient as a result. And so what's the best way to upskill people around you? Get them to use AI. It's a double whammy because now you'll become the AI person too. It's Jedi mind trick stuff. So there's a couple great ways to do this. Whenever someone asks me about a problem or like what the solution is, I'll say, what did ChatGPT say? And this is like the new form of what did you Google it? And the other thing is I'll send ChatGPT links. This is my subtle way of saying, hey, you should have asked ChatGPT. Here's how I prompted it to get the answer that we needed. And that's why lesson number 4 is use AI to upskill and elevate those around you. This is crazy high leverage and I can't express how important this is. Lesson 5, I want you to visualize being a conductor at Carnegie Hall. You have the entire orchestra playing as you're moving your hands like this. Is that what conductors do? Anyway, now replace the musicians with AI tools, and the final output is completing tasks. This is how you want to think about using AI tools. Maybe it doesn't create the final product, the music, but each of the musicians is an instrument to create that product. And ultimately, it's on you, the conductor, to use these things to create an output that's valuable. And that's why lesson number 5 is you're the conductor and AI is your orchestra. Lesson 6. Most people make the same mistake when starting with AI. They think robot do task instead of robot solve problem. It's like having a brilliant consulting on your team, but you only ask them to fetch you coffee. This limited thinking is why people aren't seeing these drastic results that they should be. AI doesn't just automate work, it automates thinking. When I'm running into these complex business issues, I don't just have AI complete a task for me. I have it try and solve the problem for me. So I'll go back and forth about different options, different pros and cons to each, and it's a sounding board for me to come to a final solution. So lesson number 6 is AI doesn't just automate work, it automates thinking. Lesson 7, there's a famous saying in Navy SEALs where slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Essentially, what it means is instead of rushing into chaos, you want to take your time and make sure you're doing the right things. That's because if you move fast, you're more likely to make mistakes, and that will ultimately cost you more time. That same approach applies to AI. Think about what you're actually doing and what you really need to solve the problem. At my companies, we've tweaked the saying a little bit, and that's why lesson 7 is move slow to move fast. It's counterintuitive, but this is a game changer. Lesson 8. When I first got my hands on AI, I wanted to automate everything. Like, if it took a minute, I was like, automate it. But I would find myself spending days trying to automate these things that really didn't take that much time. And I had to step back and say, what on earth am I doing? Why am I spending time automating this? It's not worth it. And here's a mid-twit meme of me literally being in the center. If a task takes 5 minutes and you have to do it once a month, just do it. Don't be in the middle where you're like, oh, I'm gonna spend a week and automate the entire workflow so I never have to think about it again. Just don't be the middle of this meme. Think more deeply about what you're trying to accomplish by automating something and see if it's actually worth it. And that's why lesson 8 is focus on what matters, not what you think matters. Lesson 9, Henry Ford changed the entire automobile industry with this simple strategy. It was called the assembly line. He thought about production as each individual task. He didn't get bogged down in doing everything at once. And that's how you have to think about using AI. Don't try and automate the entire process. You're going to get discouraged and it's just not going to work. But instead, try and isolate individual steps in the task. And that's why lesson 9 is automate individual tasks rather than entire processes. Focus on a very specific part of the process. For example, if you were doing YouTube script writing, you should try and process each individual task at a time. The intro, the body, the conclusion, editing, not just a single write YouTube script task, because the final result will be wonkers. Yes, I just said wonkers. Lesson 10. If you watch this video and you got this far, you're probably ahead of 95% of people, which by definition means you're in your own bubble. And the more your circle gets on board, the more effective you will be. Yes, the people around you impact you, and don't assume that they know how to use it, like that they're even using ChatGPT, because they probably don't. In fact, I even had to write a letter to my family about the state of AI and how important it is in today's world. And they know I literally create content about this stuff. And that's why lesson number 10 is don't assume that everyone knows these things. You're in a bubble. Lesson 11. Every so often, there's a new paradigm that creates an opportunity. The internet, the app store, smartphones, crypto, and now AI. And by using AI, you learn two things. The first is that you can acquire a new skill pretty rapidly and instantly see an improvement. I call this a skill delta. By using AI when I was first running my marketing agency, we were able to offer products at a significant discount because of how we were using AI and automation tools. Because we were more effective, we were able to charge better prices, and we were able to acquire more customers. And this skill delta created an opportunity for me. And when a new technology exists, this delta is the largest at the beginning. So early adopters are able to reap the most benefits. And over time, this delta from someone who doesn't know to someone who knows slowly erodes. So there's less opportunity to take advantage. Essentially, the earlier you adopt something, the more you can take advantage of it. And the second, by using AI, you're able to learn the limitations and the abilities of the industry today. And I call this a problem space. When there's new industries, there's new opportunities, and there's new problems to solve, which creates an unbelievable entrepreneurial opportunity. And that's why lesson 11 is the best time to learn about AI was yesterday. The second best time is today. Lesson 12. Think of AI as being part of your team, except it's an employee that's on call 24/7 and can get you an answer in seconds for free. But like some teams, some players do more, some players do less. Let's say in football, a bench player, they may come on the field a couple times a game, whereas the quarterback, they're orchestrating the entire thing. That's how I want you to think about using AI. It's the quarterback, not a bench player. Use AI for every task possible, for drafting emails, to being your personal real estate agent, to being your nutrition coach. You need to change your mindset. Lesson 12 is AI is the quarterback, not a bench player. The more you use it, the more you get out of it. You're not going to have Patrick Mahomes sitting on the sideline, and that's the same with AI. Lesson 13 is there's a famous rule called the 80-20 rule. Essentially, 80% of the results come from 20% of the work, and 20% of the results comes from 80% of the work. And I think this is a really good mental frame for using AI. Think of using AI as the bulk percentage of the task. Use it to get most of the way there, that first 80%. And for some tasks, that might actually be good enough. But for something like writing emails, that may not get you all the way. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't use it. Use AI to get get you to that first 80% and then use your own skills to polish it and get that last 20%. Lesson 13 is if AI can get you 80% of the way, use it. Lesson 14, remember when your parents barely knew what the internet was, but now your mom is on Instagram more than you? Well, that's what I see happening with AI. When I see people who do certain tasks and they're not using AI, I think they're literally in the Stone Age. Because for certain things, not using AI is as crazy as not using the internet. And that's why lesson 14 is using AI for certain tasks is now required. It's not optional. Like if you want to start a business today, you have to be on the internet. And I see it as if you're trying to code or build apps, you have to be using AI. Specifically in the coding space, if you're technical, using Cursor. If you're not technical, using tools like Replit, but you have to be using this for engineering. And there are plenty of other tasks where the same thing applies. Sometimes I'll get in a little bit of trouble on this because I'm like, how are you not using AI for this? But that's important. But it's the earlier lesson about leveling those up around you. Lesson 15. I put how people think about AI in 4 buckets. The first is AI ignorers. These are people that just pretend it doesn't exist. You're not this because you're watching this video. There's AI pessimists. They think AI is the end of the world and it's going to take everyone's jobs. This should not be you. The reason is because I think pessimism is just frankly a terrible way to live, but also pessimism leads to inaction. You feel like it's out of your control. It's a bad mindset. So this isn't you. The third is AI optimists. They think AI is the best thing that's ever happened and it's going to create tons and tons of jobs. Now, this shouldn't be you either. This is too happy-go-lucky, sunshine and rainbows, and it misses one key aspect that this next one covers. The fourth is AI realists, and this needs to be you. These are people that acknowledge that AI is here, there's nothing they can do about it, and we're not sure what the future holds. But they have the opportunity to take advantage of it, so they're not going to wait. This is the best position because I think it creates the most urgency for people using these tools. Frankly, if I could snap my fingers and remove AI from the face of the planet today, I probably would, but that's not a possibility. And that's why lesson 15 is adopt the mindset of an AI realist. This mindset creates a sense of urgency while acknowledging the pros and cons. Lesson 16, remember when people doubted the internet would change the world? Well, AI is following a similar path with people who are skeptics and they don't acknowledge the changes it's made. But the truth is, this isn't a passing trend or fad. Your mindset will have to shift either now or in the next 3 years or the next 5 years, much like the internet. So if you're watching this, it has to be now. And that's why lesson 16 is AI isn't a fad, it is here to stay. Urgency, people. Lesson 17. Historically, money has made money. This is because it often took money to build things, and also having money gave you access to other people with money, which had information about being successful. AI removes both of these things. You can now build things in seconds for free. In fact, in my channel, I made a video about how Peter Levels made a 7-figure business by creating an app in 3 hours using AI. You can check that out on my channel. And the second is you can get access to information that may have previously been not accessible. You can speak with AI mentors who will provide you the same information or similar as if you were speaking directly to them. A great tool for this is character.ai, and you can speak with people like Bezos, Elon Musk, Zuckerberg, and get insight from them. And that's why lesson 17 is AI democratizes business creation for everyone. And by allowing people to build things cheaply, anybody can build a business. Yes, anyone, and so I'm sorry, you no longer have an excuse to wait. Sorry. Lesson 18. The other week, I was using Grok 3 in the shower. Man, I gotta reevaluate my life. But the voice chat functionality is an absolute game changer. It's like having someone in the room to soundboard ideas off of, but they have the answer to everything. I was trying to figure out a solution to my problem, and this was like my shower thoughts. But instead of me just thinking to myself, I was talking to the AI, and I was creating this solution. This was an absolute game changer, and it was actually the first time I used the voice chat functionality. I think I'm so jaded from the Siri and Alexa functionality, which are absolutely useless, that I never thought to use it for AI. But after using it, I was like, this is an entirely new way to interact with this tool that's mind-blowing. And that's why lesson number 18 is don't underestimate the power of voice conversations with AI. And that's because how you interact with the tool really does impact its value. Lesson 19. Most people aren't aware of how crazy AI is today. And I think that's partially because it's all online. Like you don't see photos of it, like you don't see people at the bar taking Instagram stories, like that impacts your environment. But change your frame. Like imagine everyone who was using AI had to wear a dumb pink hat. Between the ages of 18 and 39, about 30% of people are using virtual assistants. So like imagine going to the bar and a third of the people had pink hats on. You'd be like, this is wild. What is going on? So the adoption is crazy, but we don't feel it. But what happens when we do feel it? in a physical form. And this is why I'm scared most about humanoid robots, because this will change your life and your environment. But it's not going to be 1 out of every 3 people. It's going to be 100% of people are going to have these robots. And right now, you don't know anybody who has one. And that's going to rapidly change, which is scary, but creates opportunity. And that's why Lesson 19 is humanoid robots scare me the most, but it's a massive opportunity. Lesson 20. Currently, AI is better than you think, and it gets better quicker than you think. There's something called an optimism bias when estimating how long things take. For example, when building an app and an engineer says it's going to take a week, it's likely going to take double that time and cost twice as much. People have the same bias towards AI, except the opposite way. They're optimistic that it isn't as good as it is and that it won't get better quickly. Unfortunately, this is what I have to tell people. AI will get better and impact your life 4 times quicker than you think. If you think it's going to take 20 years, it's going to take 5. That's the truth. And that's why Lesson 20 is AI is advancing faster than you expect, and the time is now. If you like this, make sure to click this video and continue your momentum on your AI journey. You're going to love it. Thanks for watching. Let's get it.